Money without supply control is not an asset, but merely a debt.
That's the verdict.
And look, normally we'd start these deep dives with, a bit of back and forth, maybe a question to ease you in.
Not this time.
Not today. We're not starting with a pleasantry. We're starting with a warning.
And it's a warning that's been sitting in the archives for, 500 years?
Mm-hmm.
But it's more relevant this morning than the day it was written.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are conducting a strategic briefing on what we're calling the asset move. And I want to be absolutely clear right up front. This is not a history lesson.
No.
I don't care if you slept through history class. This is a survival briefing for your wealth. We are dissecting the work of a man we're calling the 10th guardian of Bitcoin, Nicholas Copernicus.
And I know exactly where your mind goes when you hear that name.
The solar system.
Right, you think of the guy with the telescope who, stopped the sun and moved the earth. He's the astronomy guy.
But his real contribution, or at least the one that matters to us today, was something else entirely.
It was. If you dig into the archives, into a document called Monetae Cudendi Ratio.
Which means on the minting of coin.
Exactly. You realize his work in astronomy, as huge as it was for science, it was almost secondary to his contribution to capital.
That's a bold claim, but the sources we're looking at today are just undeniable. He didn't just figure out that the Earth orbits the sun, he figured out the fundamental physics of why money dies.
And that's our mission today.
Yes. We're going to dissect this 500-year-old mathematical verdict. We'll show why modern fiat is collapsing by design and why Bitcoin is the mathematical sovereignty he dreamed of but couldn't, physically build in the 16th century.
It's all about moving from a system based on the ruler's will,
whims, politics decrees,
to a system based on pure mathematical order.
So let's drop right into the chaos. Let's set the scene, because context here is everything. We are in Royal Prussia, early 1500s.
Right.
Forget the quiet observatory. Copernicus isn't just a stargazer. He's a local administrator, a bureaucrat. And his world is effectively on fire.
Economically on fire? You have to picture the map to understand the crime. You've got 3 competing currency systems, all clashing in one small region.
The Kingdom of Poland, Royal Prussia,
and the Teutonic Order. And the antagonist in this story, the real villain, is the Teutonic Knights.
The military state next door.
Precisely. And they were deep into a strategy of, monetary debasement.
They needed to fund their wars.
They had wars to fight, deficits to fill. And so what do you do when you need more money than you actually have? You cheat.
You start clipping the edges of the coins?
Oh, it was worse than that. They were reminting them. They'd take good silver coins, melt them down, mix in a whole lot of cheap copper, and then stamp them again as if they were still pure silver.
Watering down the money supply, literally.
And Copernicus is on the front lines watching this happen in real time.
He sees prices just soaring.
Soaring. And he sees trade grinding to a halt because nobody trusts the coin. Foreign merchants would look at this Prussian currency, maybe bite into it, and realize it's just soft copper. They'd say, this is trash. I'm not taking this.
So he sits down and writes, and he identifies what he calls the 4 great plagues that destroy a kingdom. I've got the list right here.
And the ranking is the key part.
It is. The 4 causes of a nation's downfall are 1, discord, 2, mortality, 3, barrenness of the land, and number 4, the cheapness of money.
That 4th one, that's the one. He argues the first 3, war, plague, famine, they're obvious.
They're loud. You see an army coming over the hill.
Exactly. You notice when the crops fail. But the 4th one, the debasement of currency. He says it destroys a nation gradually and in a secret way.
In a secret way. That's the phrase that just, it sticks with you.
It's insidious. It's unrecognized by anyone except, as he puts it, the most earnest observers. It's an invisible tax. It's a theft that's happening while you're just going about your day.
You don't realize the ruler you're measuring with is shrinking in your hand.
And that's the terrifying part. It's not a boot kicking in your door. It's the silent erosion of your life's work. And this is where the sources draw that brilliant parallel to his astronomy.
They call it economic heliocentrism.
It's a perfect metaphor. I mean, think about what he did with the scars. The old view, the geocentric view, was that the Earth is the center of everything.
Right.
In economics, the geocentric view is that money is whatever the king says it is. If the king stamps 1 shilling on a lump of copper, well, it's a shilling. Value revolves around authority.
But Copernicus says no. That's physically impossible.
Exactly right. He makes this critical distinction between 2 ideas, Estimaatio and Valor.
Okay, break those down.
Estimaatio is the face value. It's the number the king stamps on the coin, the legal decree. But Valor, Valor is the intrinsic value, the actual mathematical weight of the silver.
And his verdict was pretty blunt.
He says if the Estimaatio is higher than the Valor, it is fraud, period. The state is defrauding its people. And this is the birth of the quantity theory of money.
Which is incredible because economists usually credit guys like Irving Fisher or Milton Friedman in the 20th century for that.
But Copernicus laid down the logic 400 years earlier. His phrasing was, money loses its value most of all through excessive abundance.
It sounds so simple, doesn't it? Almost obvious. And yet we still have central bankers who pretend it's some great mystery.
Well, it's inconvenient for their goals. But Copernicus nailed the cause and effect. He saw that when prices go up, it's not because bread suddenly became more valuable.
It's because the money became cheaper.
Yes, he wrote, we in our sluggishness do not realize that the dearness of everything is the result of the cheapness of money.
The dearness of everything is the result of the cheapness of money. That quote. It should be carved into the wall of the Federal Reserve. It just flips the whole script on inflation.
It does. It tells you it's not things getting more expensive, it's your money getting weaker. And this leads to the mechanism of the extortion, which we now call Gresham's law.
Right, but based on this, it really should be Copernicus's law. The famous principle, bad money drives out good.
People say that phrase all the time, but let's walk through the mechanics of it. I don't think people really visualize how it plays out on the street level in, 16th century Prussia.
Okay, paint the picture.
So the Teutonic Knights issue these new coins. They look like the old ones, same face value, but they're mostly copper. This is the bad money.
Got it.
Now, you're a merchant. You're not an idiot. You look at this new trash coin, and then you look at your old, heavy, pure silver coin from 10 years ago, the good money.
You have both in your pocket.
Right. Which one are you using to buy bread, and which one are you keeping?
Oh, I'm spending the trash. I'm getting rid of that copper thing as fast as I possibly can.
Exactly. You dump the bad money into the market. But the silver, you hoard it, you bury it, you melt it down and sell it as raw metal to foreigners who know its true value.
So the good money just disappears from circulation and the economy gets flooded with junk.
And that's the wealth transfer. Copernicus called this a hidden tax. The ruler profits from minting the cheap coin, that's seigniorage. The citizen loses purchasing power.
The data on this is brutal. In the early 1400s, the Prussian shilling was a high-purity silver coin. By the late 1400s, it had lost over 80% of its silver.
80%. It was a copper token pretending to be wealth. It was a lie stamped in metal.
And he saw another dynamic at play, something we now call the Cantillon effect.
He did. He didn't use the name, of course, but he saw the uneven distribution. This is so critical for you to understand because it explains why inflation feels so fundamentally unfair.
When the ruler prints this bad money, who gets it first?
The people closest to the spigot. The elites. The military commanders, the goldsmiths, the insiders. They get to spend this new money while prices are still low.
And who gets it last?
The general public. The wage earner. By the time the new money trickles down to them, prices have already shot up. The value has already been stolen. It's a system of redistribution from the poor to the connected.
It's a way of looting your own people without ever drawing a sword. So that's the crime scene in the 1500s. Now we have to bridge this to today. Because, like we said, this isn't a history lesson.
And the reality is that 16th century plague is being reenacted right now. It's the exact same mechanism.
Yeah.
Just with better technology.
The Teutonic Knights used copper. Today, we use digital ledgers.
We don't clip coins, we add zeros.
Let's look at the data from the deep dive packet, the M2 money supply in the U.S.
The numbers are, well, staggering. In the year 2000, M2 was about $4.6 trillion. By 2021, it hit $19.5 trillion.
But it's the spike that should terrify you. This is the shock stat from our sources. Between 2020 and 2021, about 20% of all U.S. dollars ever created in the history of the country were printed in that 1 year.
Just let that sink in.
Yeah.
One single year. A fifth of the entire supply. The year-over-year growth hit 26.7%. That's an all-time high.
In Copernican terms, this is excessive abundance on a scale those knights couldn't even dream of.
They were limited by how fast they could smell copper. We're only limited by how fast a central banker can type.
And the consequence is identical, the dearness of everything.
Inflation, soaring housing prices, the cost of living crushing the middle class. Since the Federal Reserve was created in 1913, the U.S. dollar has lost over 96% of its purchasing power.
96%. That's a mathematical massacre.
And it brings us right back to Copernicus's warning. It destroys republics gradually and in a secret way. But the data shows the secret is out. The bucket isn't just leaking anymore. The bottom has fallen out.
So that's the diagnosis. The geocentric model of central banking is a fraud. It's a debt. So where's the solution? Where's the heliocentric model?
The solution is the fortress. It's Bitcoin.
Our sources call it the realization of Copernicus's dream, a measure of value untouched by human hands. But let's unpack why. Why is this the answer to a 500-year-old problem?
Think about what Copernicus wanted. A fixed measure. He wanted the Valor, the math, to be the ruler, not the king. But he was limited by physics. He still had to trust some central mint not to lie. He couldn't remove the human.
And Bitcoin removes the human.
Completely.
Yeah.
It replaces the ruler's will with mathematical order. It does it with two main pillars. First, the limit.
The 21 million hard cap.
Absolute scarcity. Copernicus said money loses value through excessive abundance. Well, Bitcoin makes abundance impossible. The code dictates there will never be more than 21 million.
And the halving is the enforcement mechanism.
Right. It doesn't matter if there's a war, a pandemic, an election. The algorithm does not care about your emergency. It can't be changed.
And the second pillar is even more profound, and it's what separates Bitcoin from, say, gold.
The difficulty adjustment. This is so critical. With gold, supply is elastic. If the price of gold shoots up, what happens?
People rush out to mine more of it.
Exactly. They get better tech, they dig deeper. The supply increases to meet the demand. The high price cures itself by diluting the supply.
But Bitcoin is perfectly inelastic.
Yes. If the price goes to $1 million and everyone on Earth starts mining, the supply does not increase.
The protocol just makes it harder to mine.
The difficulty adjustment kicks in. It recalibrates the math problem so that the issuance rate stays constant, no matter how much energy or demand is thrown at it. That has never existed before in human history.
It creates a perfect measure, a rod that cannot be bent.
It's the digital telescope. Just like the telescope proved the Earth wasn't the center of the universe, Bitcoin proves the central bank isn't the center of value. It reveals the fraud.
So on one side, you have the geocentric system, the dollar, the euro based on debt, losing 96% of its value. On the other, the heliocentric system, Bitcoin, based on math, capped, unchangeable.
And we have the Lindy effect to consider. Copernicus's quantity theory of money. It's held true for 500 years. It has a Lindy score of 98%. Every single time a government prints money, prices rise. It has never failed.
While fiat currencies have a 100% failure rate given enough time.
Exactly. The geocentric money always collapses. The heliocentric truth that supply defines value is immortal. Bitcoin is just that truth wrapped in encryption.
So we're at the strategic choice. This briefing was to present you with a binary option for your assets. You are at a crossroads.
You can stay in the system that is mathematically designed to bleed you dry. You can hold the bad money. You can accept the secret plague.
Or you can make the asset move.
The asset move. A flight to safety. Not safety in a bank vault, but safety in mathematical sovereignty.
This isn't about number go up, it's about supply can't go up.
It's about exiting a system where you are the victim and entering a fortress where your value is protected by code.
Money without supply control is not an asset, but merely a debt. If you hold fiat, you hold the debt of a failing system.
That's the verdict. Copernicus saw it. The data proves it.
So here's the final command for you. This is red taste. We don't mince words. Reject the geocentrism of central banks. They are the Teutonic knights of the 21st century.
Do not let your wealth be dissolved. Move to the fortress.
Board the arc of math. 21 million is the only number that matters.
And remember Copernicus's warning. The debasement happens secretly until it happens all at once.
Don't wait for the all at once. This has been The Deep Dive. We'll see you on the other side of the shift.
Stay sovereign.